2023 elections not under threat as insecurity in Imo take governor up to Buhari.
We are doing everything possible to ensure the situation is controlled and contained.
Gunning for the presidential seat, more declarations, more meetings in the political arena.
On Anambra, he was so happy because he did award.
Reflecting on the Ramadan spirit, 90,000 persons benefit from Borno government overflowing kindness.
They need to be supported because not all of them had access to the agricultural lands.
Hello and a warm welcome to NTA Network News. I am Jummai Yusuf. Adiola Kami Akira is in our Lagos studio, while Asumau Habibu Shagari is in Sokoto. Thanks for joining us. You can watch this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. We begin the news on a sad note as authorities at Nigerian Air Force Base Kaduna are yet to confirm an air crash at Old Kaduna Airport involving a trainer aircraft. But close sources confirmed the alleged incident to have claimed the lives of 2 occupants. Suleiman Rigachku reports that one of the said victims, Flight Lieutenant Abubakar Alkali, was buried at Kawo Muslim Cemetery.
Although information about the incident remains sketchy as at the time of filing in this report, sources close to the Nigerian Air Force Base Kaduna indicates that the incident involving Flight Lieutenant Abubakar Al-Kali and instructor occurred during routine flying training in the Premier Air Force Base Kaduna, leading to the death of the 2 persons. Aged 29, Flight Lieutenant Abubakar Al-Kali has been buried according to Islamic rites at Kawo Cemetery, a kilometer away from the Air Force Base Kaduna. Suleiman Rigachku, NTA News.
Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State has condemned in strong terms the recent call for the suspension of the 2023 elections and the installation of an interim national government after tenure of President Muhammadu Buhari, describing it as unconstitutional. The governor stated this while briefing journalists after an audience with the president on the state of affairs on the Eastern Heartland and the nation. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
Governor Hope Uzodinma was in the State House for the second time in 1 month to invite President Muhammadu Buhari for the inauguration of some critical federal roads infrastructure projects executed by his administration in the state.
The economic roads, critical highways that will alleviate the sufferings of our people. And those roads have been there for over 16 years, unattended to. The Owerri is 44 kilometers dualized, making it 8 kilometers. The Owerri is 59 kilometers, expanded from 7.3 meters to 12 meters. And Mr. President has graciously approved that he will be there to commission the roads, hoping that one day the Spirit of God will touch the heart of federal government and they may refund us either completely or some part of the money used for the construction. But what is important and uppermost in our mind as a government at the state level is to make the roads motorable.
The governor also briefed the president on the recent killing of INEC official in the state, saying it was out of anger by the criminal gangs having been repelled from attacking the correctional facility in Okigwe.
The bandits approaching Okigwe saw how fortified the place was, and they now tried to escape through Itu Boma. And they ran into INEC people where they were doing continuous voter registration. And out of that anger and frustration, attacked them. 2 of the bandits have been arrested and are helping the Nigerian Police Imo State Command now to do a very thorough investigation. We are doing everything possible to ensure the situation is controlled and contained. Currently, we are on top of the situation I told you. Government is not sleeping. Nigerians should be more patriotic. Our national interests should be uppermost in our mind. use this medium to call on Nigerian politicians to play politics without bitterness and stop letting blood here and there in the name of looking for power.
On the recent agitation by a legal icon, Chief Afe Babalola, that an interim national government should be formed to chart a new course for Nigeria, Governor Hope Uzodinma described it as uncalled for and condemnable.
By May 29th, if there is no elected government, our constitution has not provided for an interregnum. You shouldn't give a gap. Otherwise, you are creating room for anarchy. The constitution should be the instrument guiding our actions as a country. So, but if there is any opinion that you think that is worthy to be canvassed, superior to what is currently in the Nigerian constitution, such opinion should be taken to the National Assembly, and then they will through due process amend our constitution.
The governor strongly appealed to well-meaning Nigerians to guard their utterances and work more assiduously towards achieving sustainable future for the country. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Let's talk politics. Minister of Labour and Employment Senator Chris Ngige has declared to contest the 2023 presidential election on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, APC. The minister made the declaration at his home country, Alo, in Idemili South local government area of Anambra State.
The declaration to contest for the #1 seat in the country is to fulfill the promise the minister made to the people of the state in December 2021. With his wealth of experience as the Minister of Labour and Employment, the minister says he is capable, equipped, and better qualified to fulfill the yearnings and aspirations of all Nigerians.
We have asked him to come out. That is one. But it was not ended. The most important thing that all hands must be on there. For this presidency is solid behind our territory. I wish you the very best.
The event attracted party faithful from within and outside the state from Alo in Idemili South Council area. Ndem Kalo, NTA News.
Governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, has declared to the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party of his intention to run for office of the president in the 2023 general elections. Timothy Yusuf reports that Governor Wike appealed to the committee to organize a credible and acceptable primary election come 29th May 2022.
The governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, is among the 17 aspirants jostling for the PDP presidential ticket in the forthcoming election. Accompanied on the visit to the PDP National Working Committee by the governor of Abia State, Okezi Ekpeazu, and former governors Ibrahim Hassan Dankwambo of Gombe and Ayodele Fayose of Ekiti State, Governor Wike tasked the PDP to remain on the path of equity, fairness and justice in its affairs, most especially conducting primary election into elective political offices.
Of all the aspirants, nobody should talk about sentiment. Nobody should talk about, oh, look at how his face is. You don't need my face. All you need is to win an election. You don't need my face. You don't need to do how Scotty my voice is. What is important? Can we win this election for the People's Democratic Party? The answer is yes.
I want every member of the party who is running for election from the lowest level to the highest level, particularly presidential aspirants, to stick to the issues.
Members of Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal Presidential Campaign Organization were also at the party's national secretariat to galvanize more support towards its aspiration.
The issue of power rotation means you have to be in power to be able to rotate it. We are aspiring to have that power. So we don't have it yet.
17 presidential aspirants, 1 female and 16 male, are vying for the PDP presidential ticket in the forthcoming presidential election. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Former Kano State Governor Musa Rabiu Kwankwaso has declared to contest for the 2023 presidential election under the platform of the new Nigeria People's Party, NNPP. Senator Kwankwaso made his declaration at the party's national secretariat in Abuja.
So we are the people who have decided to come together and make sure that we have one Nigeria, no matter which religion we practice, even those who have a religion at all. We don't care in this part whether you are from the north or from the south, or you are Christian or Muslim or Yoruba or Hausa or Igbo. We believe we are all Nigerians. And if the country goes bad, it is for all of us.
Senator Kwankwaso is the first aspirant for the presidential race under the NNPP platform. The All Progressives Congress says its desire and quest to consolidate and sustain the nation's democratic ethos will be speedily achieved through massive women mobilization. This is the position of the party's National Working Committee while receiving women groups in Abuja. Saliu Gwanara tells us more.
Thank you for the forms. Mobilize your women.
It is a strategic engagement between the APC National Working Committee and stakeholders as the party increased synergy to carry along everyone. Women deserve for more participation in politics. Inform this engagement.
Come and show gratitude for the party being the first in Nigeria that is making you contest election free of charge. If any of you want to contest for president, you can come and, apart from expression of interest, it's free. It doesn't come from you. I think this requires better representation from women.
APC is a gender-sensitive party, and we have gotten the assurance from the chairman of the party that women will be considered and women will be given their rightful places. Women will be mainstreamed. We are also very, very happy and pleased.
A candidate who supports a woman definitely stands a chance of winning this election because women form the highest number of voters across Nigeria.
The women are pledging to harness their potentials in building a sustainable democracy in Nigeria. Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has described the move by the International Criminal Court to reform its system as part of efforts to mend relations with African countries as a welcome development and a crucial moment for the continent. Vice President Osinbajo stated this when he received the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, Karim Khan, who is visiting the country. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The President said the proposal to reform the international justice system would reassure African countries that there is room for negotiations and that the International Criminal Court is not just out to witch hunt any individual or organization. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo noted that it's important to create a system that builds relationships and credibility among member states and creating a sense that everyone can be treated fairly. And commended the court for making the bold move, the Vice President said the steps that have been taken are very crucial, assuring the delegation that for Nigeria, the court will get all the cooperation. The visiting International Criminal Court prosecutor Karim Khan expressed excitement at the visit, noting that it comes at a critical time in the history of the continent and acknowledging Nigeria's role in Africa. Khan explained that the court, through the proposed roadmap for reforms, would assist African countries achieve justice, applying the principle of complementarity. Earlier, the Vice President received the Egyptian ambassador to Nigeria, Ihab Awad, who came to brief him on the next meeting of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change to be hosted in Egypt later in November this year. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Network News. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Extraordinary emergency meeting of the National Executive Committee, NEC, of the All Progressives Congress, APC, will be held tomorrow, Wednesday, 20th April 2022, at the Congress Hall of the Transcorp Hilton in Abuja. All members of the National Executive Committee, NEC, are expected to be seated by 9 a.m. prompt.
You're welcome back. Nigeria has formally signed to host the first global conference on culture, tourism and the creative industry with the assurance that it will be a trailblazing event. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this at the signing ceremony in Madrid, Spain. Anthony Fossen reports.
Arrival at the UNWTO headquarters in Madrid, Spain, the Information and Culture Minister was accompanied by the Nigerian ambassador to Spain and permanent representative to the organization, Ademola Sariki, along with the Director General, Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation, Folorunso Koka, were received by the Secretary General, UNWTO, Zurab Polulikashvili.
How are you, my brother? How are you doing? Very well.
At the bilateral meeting, Lai Mohammed said Nigeria is ready to host the first conference at the National Theatre in Lagos, which is currently undergoing renovation at a cost of $100 million under the partnership between the Federal Government of Nigeria, Bankers Committee, and the Central Bank.
In addition to the renovation, new hubs have been constructed within the premises of the National Theatre. We have a hub for fashion, one for information technology, one for film, and another for music. With that, the National Theatre is now being rechristened as the Lagos Creative and Entertainment Center.
The global event, the minister pointed out, is of immense importance, not only to Nigeria, but the entire sub-Saharan Africa.
It will affirm Nigeria's status as the hub of the creative industry in Africa. Whether it is music, movie, or fashion, among others. Nigeria dominates and also greatly influences what happens within the sub-region and indeed the region. The essence of hosting this event, therefore, is to reposition the creative industry as the engine of growth, not just in Nigeria or Africa, but indeed all countries of the world.
The creative industry accounts for 3% GDP, averaging 2 and 7% national GDPs around the world. UN, he said, estimates that the sector generates an annual revenue of $2.25 trillion and accounts for about 30 million jobs worldwide. The inaugural conference, he maintained, couldn't have come at a better time than now, given the negative impact of COVID-19 on the industry. Zurab Polulikashvili commended Nigeria for the efforts being made to have a successful conference.
More friends, more participants, more visibility, more press, more media, we can make it very successful.
With Lai Mohammed signing for Nigeria, Zurab Polulikashvili also signed on behalf of UNWTO. Before leaving the UNWTO headquarters, Lai Mohammed presented the Secretary General a souvenir from the NTDC and proceeded to the Nigerian Embassy, where he was conducted round the Nigerian house by the Nigerian Ambassador, Ademola Sariki. In Madrid, Spain, Anthony Fossen, NTA News.
The Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Issa Ali Fantami, says putting in place an enabling legislation that will create the right environment for technology innovators to thrive is of immense benefit for Nigeria and Nigerians. He said this while briefing the House of Representatives on a bill that seeks the development of technology-enabled startups in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali tells us more.
This meeting with leadership and members of the House of Representatives, the Communications Minister explained that the executive bill before the National Assembly aims to eliminate bottlenecks limiting investments in the ICT sector. Multiple regulations and taxation, he says, are some factors making it difficult for young innovators and entrepreneurs to achieve their potentials of employment generation.
It will consolidate our position as the giant of Africa, particularly in the area of digital economy. And this act, you will discover, is all about bringing all the stakeholders on the same table to discuss the challenges being confronted by our young innovators, our young entrepreneurs, and see what we can do to make them very successful. It will increase our gross domestic product in Nigeria.
Those at the meeting agreed that the creation and development of an enabling environment for technology-enabled startups in Nigeria is of essence, but the lawmakers expressed concern over some fund-related provisions in the bill.
And where do you place the issue of competitiveness and pre-market parameters within the context of this initiative?
If we're talking about funding support for startups at this level, when we're just making, providing the legislative framework for it, I thought that we should be looking at long-term loans.
The minister is optimistic that this piece of legislation is capable of making Nigeria produce and supply SIM cards to other African countries. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
In another development, the federal government is requesting all Nigerian science, engineering and technology professionals both at home and in the diaspora to file in their data on a new developed database system meant for the registration of indigenous innovators and contractors. National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion NOTAP has directed these professionals to register their profiles with the office through their website for proper documentation. This, the agency says, will assist NOTAP and other MDAs to assess the database in search of indigenous experts in carrying out construction contracts for the development of the country. NOTAP Director General explains that the directive is part of the implementation of the President's Executive Order Number 5 on local content in public procurement with science, engineering and technology components.
This is an indigenous Nigerian company, and that company got the award, and they produce an excellent software for us to operate. I'm telling you, when they came and demonstrated this application, everybody was happy and proud that this is coming from Nigeria. So if we don't give Nigerians the chance, we may not see the best out of them.
The database platform will be synchronizing the initial 7,000 manual entries of current registered engineering personnel. And for updates, let's bring you up to speed with other news making the rounds as President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed serious concern over what he called the unpatriotic attitude of some Nigerians who connive with foreign interests to destabilize the country. The president made his feelings known at the breaking of the Ramadan fast as he organized for governors, service chiefs and heads of some federal government parastatals. He said in the last 7 years, his administration has done so much with so little in addressing the critical infrastructure deficit, achieving food security and enhancing the living conditions of Nigerians. The president is, however, worried over the resurgence of violence in parts of the country after the successes achieved by his administration in degrading Boko Haram, which he attributed to acts of sabotage.
I don't know why people insist that Nigeria shouldn't be left alone to develop. We have the land, we have the resources, we have the people. But I don't know, people have allowed themselves to be successful in destabilizing their own country. So, whatever position we are occupying, I think we have to look very seriously at the problem. I assure you, we cannot choose the time, but God willing, we will succeed.
The chairman, Nigeria Governors Forum and Governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, appreciated the president for providing the desired leadership towards addressing prevailing challenges confronting the country at this crucial moment in history.
The country is going through a lot of challenges, but we also thank God Almighty for giving us a leader who has the resilience, who has the determination, and who is not faced by momentary challenges from continuing to commit to the renewal of our nation. And all of us said this is the creme de la creme of this country. Governors, ministers, heads of agencies, all dedicated to building a better Nigeria on your watch. And pray that Almighty Allah will continue to grant you the wisdom, the knowledge, and the capacity to continue to improve on the lives and livelihoods of our people.
90,000 internally displaced persons and members of the host community in Mongono town in northern Borno benefited from the state government's distribution of food and non-food items as well as cash to the tune of 275 million naira in the spirit of Ramadan fasting. Governor Babagana Umara Zulum, who personally supervised the exercise, moved to boost fishing activities in the Lake Chad as peace takes root in northern Borno. Mohammed Goni reports.
Each of the 35,000 male beneficiaries received a bag of rice and maize, while a total of 55,000 women got a fabric, 5,000 naira cash and sugar, for which they expressed gratitude to the government over the gesture.
The community had the opportunity of accessing their farmlands last year, but still they need to be supported because not all of them had access to the agricultural lands. That necessitated the need for the Borno State government to come and support them with food and non-food items, especially during the Ramadan period.
While in northern Borno, Governor Babagana Umara directed release of 5 vehicles and a business grant as stimulus to Mongono fish marketers at an interactive meeting with fish dealers in the area. Before the insurgency, which disrupted business activities in most communities in Borno, dry fish was commercially supplied to other parts of Nigeria and to the neighboring countries. The gesture was aimed at enhancing trading in dried fish, previously suspended as a result of the activities of Boko Haram insurgents. Now that peace has returned, as evident by the volume of fish being conveyed from Baga, Doro, and other surrounding communities to Mongono and eventually Maiduguri. Governor Zulum had since 2019 directed disbursements of billions of naira aimed at supporting business owners whose sources of livelihood were crippled by conflicts in the northeast. The governor warned fish traders against any business deal that can support funding of Boko Haram ISWAP, and further urged the traders to cooperate with security agencies by providing information about suspicious activities relating to insurgents. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
The Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has ordered the review of police personnel and operational assets deployment to schools around the country to ensure maximum protection of lives and property. A statement by the First Public Relations Officer, Olumiwa Adejobi, indicates that the directive was issued at the Force Management Team while reviewing the general security in the country. The IGB equally directed all state commissioners of police, tactical commanders, as well as their supervising assistant inspectors general of police to explore all available avenues to ensure the safety of schools. Now, Nigeria has a duty to educate and embark on aggressive grassroots mobilization to reorient people on the importance of voting, with emphasis that each vote must count. National Coordinator New Nigeria Dream Initiative Omubua Breakforth during a visit to the management of the Nigerian Television Authority says this is a major step towards building the confidence of the people in the country's electoral process. Oyeyemi Ajayi has details.
In 2019, less than 40% of registered voters participated in the electoral process, and this is due to the rate at which most Nigerians have lost confidence in the electoral process of the country. Hence, voter apathy becomes the order of the day. However, this visit by the New Nigeria Dream Initiative to the headquarters of the Nigerian Television Authority is for a better partnership in order to bridge this gap and instill confidence of the people in the electoral process. They emphasized the need for awareness at the grassroots to change the mindset and not to deny themselves the right of carrying out their civic responsibilities.
We came together with the burning zeal to carry out grassroots mobilization, attention, and education, so that Nigerians will know that they have civic rights as a nation, as a citizens.
If we pull our resources together, and
collaborate with INEC, that is the officially recognized body charged with conducting elections. I think Nigerians will begin to believe in the electoral process. And once there's a belief in the electoral process, the question of credibility comes in.
The NTA Director General Yakubu Ibn Mohammed was, however, bestowed the title the Media Ambassador of New Nigeria Dream Initiative. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
NTA Network News will continue from our Lagos studio with Adiola. Hello, Adiola.
Hello, Jumai. The buzz on the social and traditional media has increased following a viral video of an indecent act by some students of a private school in Lagos. Annie Daniels, who spoke to a cross-section of Lagosians, tells us their reactions.
I visited one of the branches of the school in Ikeja area of Lagos and met the gates shut. Although there were a few security men behind the gate, none agreed to comment on the issue. This may not be unconnected with a directive from the Lagos state government that all branches of the school remain closed.
First time I heard the story, someone said it was a rape story, but when I got access to the video, I saw that it was not actually rape because they were both participating in the act. So I was shocked and appalled because, of course, we are a very moralistic country and we would expect that our schools teach our children, not just academically, but morally and culturally. So it was very surprising seeing that.
These respondents advised that nothing should be left to chance to ensure sanity returns not just to the school, but to other institutions across the country.
She needs more guidance, at her age about sex education, so that she won't go astray, for things like this, because things like this happen. They happen everywhere.
Everything about the video is all bad. They need to monitor those children nowadays. All schools, most especially those secondary school, they need to monitor them.
Meanwhile, the Lagos State Police Command has advised Nigerians against circulating the alleged sex video or risk 14 years in jail. The command says it is investigating all allegations in collaboration with all relevant agencies. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Now, the increasing rate of domestic violence is such that requires a multi-dimensional approach and awareness campaigns to help reduce the societal menace to the barest minimum. These and more were views of a cross-section of Nigerians in curbing this ugly trend, and the Macau will tell us more.
Available data shows that 1 in every 3 women are likely to suffer domestic violence in their relationships or from an intimate partner.
If you love somebody, you don't hate. Love does not hate. Love does not get angry. And when it gets to that level, you should think again.
This does not mean that the male folk are left out, as some are also survivors of domestic violence.
The core thing is for us to be able to nip it in the bud from home. That is, have your children brought up in the proper way.
Experts say domestic violence is caused by several factors and has ripple effects on the victims and by extension to others within the immediate environment.
When someone is already a victim of domestic violence or any other kind of violence for that matter, and we cast blames at them, we're re-victimizing them, we're re-traumatizing them, and people have to be aware of that.
The children who go through this kind of life growing up, it creates something in their minds that, oh, yes, when I get married, I could treat my wife like this, or I could treat my husband like this.
Some stakeholders are of the view that the more victims stay in an abusive relationship, the more the physical and emotional damage the person suffers.
I mean, how does a man beat you and you think there's nothing you can do? I mean, you just think you are stuck. We need to let women, the girls know, that they must empower themselves and that, they are worth so much.
If there is abuse, and there is pure abuse, it is important for the woman who is being abused to make sure that she doesn't just keep silence.
They are also clamoring for more institutional support in stemming the tide of domestic violence in Nigeria, as some of the cases have led to untimely death of the victims. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
Those are reports from Lagos. Don't forget that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on YouTube at NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page at NTA Network News. Twitter handle is at NTA News Now, and on Instagram at NTA Network for updates. The news will continue.
Thanks for joining us. The International Monetary Fund has raised Nigeria's 2022 economic growth forecast from 2.7% in previously estimated to 3.4%. The fund had revised upward its growth forecast for the Nigeria economy in 2022 by 0.3% to 2.6% compared to its earlier projection in its April 2021 edition, while it retained its growth forecast for 2021. The IMF stated this in its latest World Economic Outlook released on Tuesday at the ongoing hybrid spring meetings in collaboration with the World Bank in Washington, D.C. And for more on the economy, Benny Adams is here. Hello, Benny.
Thank you, Jumai. And welcome to Business. I'm still talking on the spring meetings, speaking on responding to global shocks and managing uncertainty at the ongoing IMF World Bank spring meetings in Washington, D.C. President of the World Bank Group, David Marper, says due to high debts and deficit levels, countries are under severe financial stress, with 60% of low-income ones in debt distress or at high risks. On steps to fix the situation, MAPA suggested the establishment of a lifeline for forming creditors' committees and suspension of debt service payments and penalty interest.
So for the developing countries, we really need to, I think, find ways that less of the debt is collateralized. So I'm hoping we can move, as we move through these crises, we can find some principles of debt that include more transparency, less of it being collateralized, so that there can be more investment.
Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva has advocated extension of debt maturities and using exchange rate flexibility as well as foreign exchange interventions in capital flows management as part of measures to tackle inflation.
These country-level tools need to be coupled with international efforts to help economies move safely through the monetary tightening cycle. Maintaining access to liquidity is particularly critical.
And on the capital markets, investors gained 19.13 billion naira as all share index inched up by 0.07% to open the week positive at 47,545.86 basis points. Market capitalization stood at 25.6 trillion naira. 365.4 million shares valued at 7.1 billion naira exchanged hands in 5,790 deals. DNMaya led 21 gainers as against 29 losers, topped by Academy at the end of today's session. Fidelity Bank, Access Core and MTN Nigeria were the most active to boost market turnover. Well, that is business news, but network news continues with Asmao in Sokoto. Asmao, you can take it from here.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Sokoto on Network News. Parents, especially mothers, have been admonished to ensure proper upbringing of their children for a peaceful and united Nigerian project. Wife of the Kebbi State Governor, Dr. Zainab Shinkafi Bagudu, gave the charge at the 6th Kebbi Women's Ramadan Lectures in Birnin Kebbi. Hassana Abubakar Kuko has the details.
The lecture with the theme Path to Paradise and Initiation of the Wife of the Governor commenced in 2016. Dr. Zainab Shinkafi Bagudu said the present administration in Kebbi State has been friendly to women and therefore urged the next administration to uphold the legacies by ensuring adequate representation of women in governance.
Nigeria is a blessed country. There are countries that are looking for food to buy with money and they cannot buy it. But we have, so we learn to say Alhamdulillah and thank God for his favors.
Governor Abubakar Atiku Bagudu appeals to youth in the state to continue seeking for both Islamic and Western knowledge, and also emulates the various speakers at the event, who he described as men and women of knowledge and sacrifice.
We will take one or two things from what they have taught us more seriously, so that by the next time we gather for Ramadan, we will all be better persons and will all contribute to society more.
During the program, Sheikh Mufti Ismail Menk virtually delivered a lecture on parenting, and Dr. Jabir Sani Maihula spoke on the importance of justice in all aspects of life. Other speakers, Malama Juwairiya Usman, talked about justice and compassion in marriage. Malama Zainab Jafar Adam delivered a lecture titled The Path to Paradise, and Sister Jamila Lawal spoke on good diet and nutrition. Hassana Abubakar Koko, NTA News.
Wife of Zamfara State Governor Aisha Muhammadu Bello has flagged off the distribution of the 2022 Ramadan welfare package to people in the state. The 10,000 women and some other vulnerable persons drawn from across the 14 local government areas of the state are billed to benefit from the assistance. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
The annual Ramadan welfare package of Zamfara State Governor's wife Aisha Bello Muhammad has taken new dimension this year, considering the prevailing economic and social situation in the country. Flagging of the distribution of the items, the Governor's wife, represented by the Special Advisor to the Governor in her office, Fatima Musa, said provision of the food items instead of the usual clothing materials is aimed at mitigating the sufferings of the vulnerable families in the society. She noted that more than 10,000 less privileged women and vulnerable groups are to benefit from the assorted food items. Zamfara State APC women leader Aisha Waziri maintained that the gesture, which is part of the various social interventions of the Governor's wife, is meant to provide relief to the women folk in the state. She noted that the assistance will cover all the 40 local government areas of the state and called on the beneficiaries to continue praying for Allah's intervention against the insecurity bedeviling the country. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
And a reminder that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on YouTube channel NTA News Online. You can also visit our Twitter at NTA News Now, our Facebook page NTA Network News, and Instagram NTA Network for updates. We'll take a short break, and when we return, Network News will continue in Abuja with Jumai.
University education and incessant strikes, impact on growth and development is a focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. Tuesday Live, incisive and educative at 10:30 p.m. Join us.
Welcome back. Weather forecasters across West Africa and the Sahel are coming together to develop an annual seasonal weather forecast that will serve as a guide to farmers in the regions. The Nigerian Metrological Agency is playing a key role in the initiative. Musa Ali reports.
Most parts of West Africa and the Sahel region have similar weather conditions, hot with low rainfall. Even with that, getting accurate and reliable weather information to support agricultural activities remains a major issue to farmers. This informed the idea of establishing a regional forum that will compile and disseminate weather-related information to farmers.
Because, climate doesn't know the borders. So even if you have different countries, different climatic area, but they are interacting each other. So that's why when we come together, we will put our information together so that we can consolidate a strong information that is more stronger than having one individual countries providing his own information.
The Nigerian Metrological Agency is hosting weather forecasters from the regions. This initiative is designed to carry rural communities along, who will be the users of the information that will be provided.
These are scientists, and they should be able to come together and merge whatever differences they have to produce one forecast for the region that will benefit all users of climate and weather information.
Weather-related issues have been a major challenge in the Sahel region, affecting more than 43 million people. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
The death has occurred of Evangelist Joseph Chikeze Uloka, former staff of the NTA. Late Evangelist Joseph Uloka joined the services of the NTA in 1976 and voluntarily resigned in 1986. In his 10 years service, he worked as secretary typist in different departments, including the office of the Director General between 1982 and 1984. Burial arrangement endorsed by Elder Chidi Uloka, former Zonal Director, NTA Lagos Network Center, on behalf of the family, indicates that the remains of the deceased will be interred on 21st April 2022 in his hometown, Azuyi Oloko Autonomous Community in Ukwana, local government area of Abia State. And that's Network News Tonight. Thanks so much for watching. Do have a wonderful